Well, good morning. Welcome to Unity Fort Worth. Today is Thursday, October 1st, 2020, and this is morning meditation. And welcome. Thank you for joining me this morning. This is my first morning getting to be on this side of the screen, so to speak. So thank you. Thank you for coming and joining me, and thank you for being a part of Unity Fort Worth. Good morning, Peyton. As usual, I'm going to start with what's the daily word today. Dailyword.org is where I get this, and today's word is blessed. The statement is, I am blessed. Um, and as I thought about this morning, I had a remembrance. I remember the first man that ever taught me about meditation. And the first thing that he really told me was, you're just going to sit in the silence, you're going to watch your breath, you're going to feel better, have less anxiety, and maybe your blood pressure will get better, and maybe you'll have less pain, etc. Good morning, Terry. And it was interesting because that's all he told me. He didn't teach me anything else about meditation. Nothing that meditation is about spiritual transformation, just those things, and said go at it. And of course, as you can imagine, I didn't necessarily find meditation very fun because I didn't find silence. There was all kinds of stuff going on in this head that I didn't really know what to do with. But as time evolved, I got other teachers that helped me a little, but I started recognizing that I was having experiences. I was having times when I did feel like I stepped into something that was so expansive, or that I was having visions, or that I was just getting acute awarenesses of things that seemed to be relevant and helpful in my life. And I liked those things. So when I started going back to my meditation, guess what I wanted? I wanted to have those things. So I started trying to pull them into my meditation. Man, I'm going to have this today. I'm going to have this experience. I want this. And of course, what do you think happened? In the grasping, didn't get any of it. Matter of fact, the grasping helped keep it at bay for me. So I had even more of a challenging time with my meditation. Yet, I thought those were blessings for me. And to me, at that time in my life, I thought it was a gift that someone was giving me from without. So the experience was trying to pull that blessing to me. But as time went by, I realized what was the blessing about? The blessing is, to me in meditation, is that awareness that there's more of a fullness here. There's an experience. Charles Fillmore says that our blessing is more of a declaring of our God nature. So that action that's involved with God, that it's calling that forth. And to me, what are we doing in meditation? Good morning, Jeannie. Meditation to me is part of that experience of whatever the practice is that I'm doing is ultimately looking that I am returning to the awareness of that God self, of who I am, that principle and law, that capital P, capital L principle and law. And that it's in that place that I am more deeply growing aware of that God self, that spiritual awareness. But my practice of meditation isn't trying to make that happen. It isn't grasping at it to force it, to bring it forth. Because if we already discussed, that didn't seem to work very well for me. So it's in that process of returning to the silence. To me, I like simple terms and simple ideas. And to me, it was finding that space between my breaths. I learned to watch my breaths to begin with, but as I looked for a different way to practice, to me, it was finding that space between the breaths, in that place that we call it silence, and sometimes it's deafening, and sometimes it just seems to be a whole lot in that silence. But that's not for me in my practice to try to make one or the other. It's to keep returning to my practice. Whatever arises, those great experiences that I loved and wanted in my life, to just allow those, if they're what arising, to allow that to be there, not to pull it closer or to push it away, but to return to the practice, return back to the silence, to return back to stepping into. So with that, I think this morning I'm just going to move us into meditation. So I invite you, whether you keep your eyes open and just soften them as you look forward, close your eyes, know that whatever you're comfortable with, I would like for us to join in taking a breath. Because in this breath, as we release, we allow our body to settle in and relax. And with another breath, we're releasing and settling in. And just as we do with that breath, we're allowing ourselves to settle in. Our practice is stepping in and settling in, being in that place of the silence, that awareness of the silence. And here we can acknowledge that we want to bring through the attribute of blessed, the statement of I am blessed. We can hold that as an attribute as we move more deeply into our experience, into our practice. For there's one power, one source, and we're all that same one thing. Unique expressions of it, yes. But we all have that expression. We're not diminished in it. It's not shortened in one of us and lengthened in the other. We're here in this presence, in this present, experiencing that divine self, allowing ourselves to recognize that we have distractions, we have thoughts and ideas that arise, and simply we don't call them to us, we don't try to push them away, we acknowledge their presence and come back to our presence, come back to our practice. Being blessed is being aware, remembering who we are. In my practice, as I bring myself to the silence, to that experience, it doesn't change. It is a constant, but my awareness shifts and evolves. I transform in my awareness. So I allow that power and clarity and understanding to be there if it's to be there. And then I open up to that transformation, that spiritual shifting, awakening, awareness. And that no matter what it is, whether I consider it pleasurable, whether I consider it a distraction, it's still part of the practice. It's part of my experience. It's part of me. And I welcome, yet don't attach, don't grasp. I return to the practice. There's a beauty in the awareness of who we are, of what we are. And that the blessing of life is knowing that beauty, having that experience. As we touch in our practice, we grow that awareness. It is complete and full. So our practice isn't needed to shift it. It's just allowing us to grow deeper in that awareness. And that is practice. It's a repetition, a consistency that ebbs and flows, rises and falls. Yet it's a practice that we return to, seeing it be unchanging, seemingly at times, and evolving and growing, shifting in ways that we haven't imagined. Just part of what the experience is of meditation. Knowing that this practice and this time is not just dedicated to now. The practice we're doing in this morning is the practice we continue through our day. Just as our thoughts arise, our feelings become aware, and we return to our practice now, the same in our day. Our thoughts arise with feelings that we experience, sensations we're aware of. And yet, we then return to our practice. It's just a continuing awareness of returning. And then dropping away the need to be aware of the returning. I'm just stepping in and sitting in to the silence. The blessing that we are doesn't have to be something that we grow. The blessing that we are is who we are. This declaration that this is the truth, that our practice is the revealing. And that our life is no need to make it come forth, to make it be more. Our practice is allowing, accepting, being willing and at ease that what is arising here is us, myself, my true nature, my true experience as I take it into my life, into my day, into the activities and chaoticness that perhaps is my life, seemingly today. Meditation is the gift that we give ourselves. It isn't a gift that's bestowed upon us by another, by something else. It's the kindness and generosity we show ourselves by being willing to come to meditation and to carry that forth through our day. Today we take blessed forth the declaration of my God goodness, the true goodness that I am. I take that blessed, that declaration forth. With that, as we end our meditation, we know that we can't end our meditation. It's a part of who we are. That's part of the spiritual transformation, is that is the nature of who we are, and that we can't help but take it forth into our life. So I invite you, think about that, share a little blessed with yourself today. Keep that in your awareness. And also take a look at unityfortworth.org/calendar and know that there are events coming up today, but there's also events this weekend. There's a pet blessing happening at the Peace Garden in the parking lot. So actually an in-person event is taking place that might be of interest for you. And you can find that in the calendar. You can even subscribe to that. So with that, thank you for being with me. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.